I get it, you've probably spent a solid hour scrolling through endless listings, watching a dozen unboxing videos, and still end up wondering if that shiny new planer will actually stand up to a full day in the shop. The frustration hits hardest when a tool looks perfect on paper, but as soon as you fire it up on a piece of pine, it either falls short or feels like you've overpaid for a gimmick. That's exactly why I'm diving into this review, to help you dodge the common mistake of buying a planer that sounds great but doesn't deliver when you need it most. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the category itself. A 312mm, 2200W corded Carpenter planer sits in a sweet spot for hobbyists and small shop professionals who need to flatten, thickness set, or trim boards faster than a hand plane but don't want to shell out for a full-size industrial machine. The key questions you should ask before pressing add to cart are, how often will you use it? What thickness range are you actually dealing with? And how much floor space are you willing to dedicate to a piece of equipment that will sit on a bench most of the time? If you're the type who runs a weekend workshop, builds occasional furniture, or does renovation projects that require a clean, even surface on 24s and 16s, the Makita KP312S could be a solid addition. Its 2200W motor means it can take on hardwoods like oak without stalling, and the 312mm cutter width lets you handle standard sheet goods in a single pass. That said, if you're only planning to do occasional trims on a couple of boards a year, the power draw and size might feel excessive, and a lower cost, smaller capacity planer could be a better match. One of the practical strengths that shows up when you actually hook it up to a workbench is the consistency of the depth offcut adjustment. The knob turns smoothly, and once you dial in a setting, the machine holds it without drifting, something I've seen cause headaches in cheaper models that wander after a few passes. That reliability matters when you're trying to match a specific thickness across multiple boards for a cabinet face. Because the KP312S is a corded unit, you avoid the battery life anxiety that can interrupt a job. Just plug it in, and you're ready to go, no worrying about whether you have enough juice left to finish the final board in a batch. Another real-world benefit is the dust extraction port. The planer's design lets you attach a shop vacuum, which significantly reduces the mess in a small workshop. I've tried a similar size planer without a proper dust port, and the fine sawdust quickly coated the bench and nearby tools, making cleanup a chore. With the Makita, most of the shavings are captured directly at the source, so you spend less time sweeping and more time shaping wood. Now, for the trade-offs. The machine weighs in on the heavier side. It's not something you'll be moving around the house on a whim. If you have a cramped workshop or intend to store the planer in a closet after each use, you'll need to factor in the extra handling effort. Also, the no-load rotation speed is solid for most hardwoods, but when you push into dense tropical woods like teak or ipe, you'll notice a slight slowdown. It's not a complete stall, but the feed rate needs to be reduced, which can elongate the time spent on each board. That's something serious woodworkers who tackle exotic species should be aware of. Let's talk about the user experience with actual setup. The KP312S arrives in a fairly compact box, with the motor, cutter head, and necessary guards all snugly packed. Assembly is straightforward. You slot the motor into the base, secure the cutter head, and attach the guard. I've seen a lot of reviewers get tripped up by confusing wiring charts, but Makita keeps it simple, and the wiring is clearly labeled. It takes under 10 minutes to get it running, even if you're not a seasoned electrician. Once powered, the tool feels solid underfoot, the base doesn't wobble, which is crucial for maintaining an even-planed surface. What about the real value proposition? At its price point, you are not just buying a motor and a blade. You're investing in Makita's reputation for durability, the convenience of a corded supply that eliminates downtime, and a design that anticipates the mess factor with that dust port. If you compare it to a similarly powered competitor that lacks a dust extraction solution, the KP312S saves you both money and time in the long run. The extra wattage gives you confidence when tackling hardwood, meaning fewer passes and less wear on the cutter blades, extending their life. Who should walk away from this review? If you're a DIY enthusiast who only needs to flatten a few boards each year, the investment might feel steep, and a smaller, less powerful handheld planer could cover your needs. Also, if you have limited bench space and need a truly